Proud to be alive. If you can't do that,
it's not something that you can just make up about yourself. You have to be able to show that you are as strong as you say you are. Especially if you're competing in strongman.
Need a minute?
No, I'm good. I just wrote my notes down. Open up right on screen, and I think we are. Are we on? Are we good here?
We are
Talking yours, yeah.
ready to rock. Ready? That sounds good.
Yeah, I think we're good. Yep.
I think we're good. Okay.
Looks like we're good.
Here we are, episode 73 of Strong and Petty here in the west end of Winnipeg at Iron Age Strength. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a very special episode. We put out to our listeners that we wanted to do a Q&A episode because guess what? Nothing really happened in the last week.
Nothing.
Nothing locally and nothing really big time. Like Thor's going to Dubai, great, whatever. But nothing really happened that's going to affect Manitoba Strongman too much in the last little while. Thor's by now, yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's a big revelation in strongman. But we put out a Q&A, and damned if Thrones didn't come up with such a great question that we decided just to make a whole episode about it.
Yeah. We got a couple that we'll touch on, but that was a great question.
Yeah, if we have a little bit of time at the end, we got a bunch of questions from people, and we really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll sprinkle a question into each episode coming up or whatever, or we'll have time at the end of this or whatever. But one thing I did want to touch on before we get to that, before we get to the special episode, is we have our gift here for our volunteer prize winner, who is the man himself, Mean Dean, the volunteering machine.
Denim Dean.
So we went ahead and got him this gigantic belt from SBD.
It's actually a sweet-ass belt.
Oh, it's an absolute thing of beauty. SBD took good care of me this year at CSM, and we really appreciate everything they do. So we got him this beautiful belt here. Dean, if you don't use this thing, boy, you're in trouble.
Yeah,
so,
well, it'll go to the gym.
Yeah, someone will use it.
Devin's going to use it, maybe.
As big as you might be right now around the midsection, you're not using a 3XL belt, though.
How do I stretch this out?
Congrats to Dean for, thank you to Dean, first and foremost, for being a great volunteer. For anybody who's not aware of what we're talking about, we did a draw with all of our volunteers. Every time you volunteered, you got your name put into the draw, and then we did a random selection to get that beautiful SBD belt, and Dean won. And I know, when you look at Dean, you're not thinking that he's much of a gym guy yet. Devin?
All you need is a belt to start.
That's right.
That is all you need.
But he is getting started with you,
started,
is that right?
yeah,
okay, so that's fantastic to hear. Dean is going to be a father soon.
Yeah, he's not far away from that yet.
And he's making the right choices to change some of the habits in his life to better improve.
He wants to make sure he's him and his wife both. They want to make sure they're there for the long haul.
Love it.
So they're doing some lifestyle changes.
Love that.
Health-wise, Dean's a big guy.
Yes.
He's made some choices, so he's like, I need to make sure that I can be the dad. Like I said, I've never seen a guy so excited to be a dad. Like
that's fantastic.
I was excited, but dude's just like it's his world.
Dean's an extremely lovable guy. If you haven't met him at a competition, first of all, I urge you to. If as a competitor, I've said this before on here, but as a competitor, you really should make a point of going around and, at the very least, speaking to, but really thanking every volunteer that's at the competitions. I went and did that at CSM. I do at Westerns. I do it just wherever I am.
Is that fan just blowing on you?
Yeah, it feels great. Is it not on you at all?
Not at all.
I'll adjust it for you afterwards. But make sure you say what's up to Dean because he's one of the
he's got a hell of a mullet.
Faces. Yeah, he sure does. He's hard to miss. He's got a very distinct look to him. I'll put it this way: you can either say hi to Janaea or you can say hi to Dean. So I'm gonna pick Dean on that one.
Yeah. If you're gonna go say hi to one of the volunteers,
pick Dean.
And let's face it, Dean's mullet's better than Janaea's.
That's true. They both do have great mullets though.
Holy shit!
She's gonna freak out on you.
Oh yeah. Great mullet, Janaea. Great mullet.
So because we got it, our goddamned producer last week decided that he just was going to skip out on the last 15 minutes of the episode. We missed a very, very important part of the episode, which is our sponsor, Jeremy Wiens Realty.
Yeah,
which
that whole segment was
yes,
gone.
we missed a lot in that very important stuff in that time, Denzel. No, but we want to
when you move your fist that way, I get a breeze. It banks off your hand.
We want to thank our sponsor, Jeremy Wiens Realty, Realty, right?
Realtor.
Damn it.
You
remembered it at least.
Yeah, Suck It Realty Group.
And he, I don't think even you know this, he's jumped in as a sponsor for both Iron Claw, our grip competition being held here, and Deep Freeze, our push-pull competition.
I had no idea.
Yes. So Jeremy Wiens, just say it every time. Can't say it enough. How awesome he is and how much he supports and is involved in the Manitoba strongman scene and now the Manitoba powerlifting scene
That's
as well too.
Yep.
Strength sports in general. If you need anything done for you, with that involves a realtor, buying, selling, consulting, just
Opinion of values, anything you need.
shopping around.
Yeah.
Just if there's somebody you want that you don't even. It's hard to know if you're like where do you even begin? Where do you even start?
There's a
new
ton of
home buyer?
anxiety around buying a house.
For sure.
There's even if you're like, I'm not ready to buy a house, but I want to buy a house next year. But what steps do I need to take for pre-approvals?
Right.
Which mortgage broker should I even go see?
It's not as simple as just being like, I'm ready to buy a house.
Yeah,
because
it can be like a year process on people by the time you go get your pre-approval.
Yeah.
Oh shit! I can't get approved actually because I have XXX on my credit, but I can clean it up in 6 months. So I pay
For sure.
these off.
Exactly.
Jeremy has guys he works with that can line that all up.
Yep. They can help you out.
So that when the right house comes, the trigger's pulled.
You're ready for it. Exactly. That's exactly right. So
Yeah.
that's our man, Jeremy Wiens. He's the man. Getting on his fitness journey. I'm sure we'll be seeing him this weekend. As this is posted, it'll be only a couple hours away from Deadlift for Dreams. I'm sure we'll be saying what's up to him there. So if you see him there, make sure you say hello.
And I mean, I can't stress that enough. Just to, maybe that's the business side of me, but when I said when the opportunity comes up, be ready to pull the trigger.
Mm-hmm.
And you can relate that strong with being ready, stay ready. You always will be ready.
For sure.
But in business or life, because I've bought in different houses, I've done these different things, and I've used Jeremy for like anything in the last 5 years has been Jeremy.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people always say, "Oh, you got lucky on buying that. Oh, how do you find houses on the market? You're lucky. You're lucky." The difference was, I sat down with Jeremy. I sat down with my banker. I sat down with brokers. I'm like, "Okay, I want to make a push into real estate,
Right.
into buying rentals. I need to know when the house comes on that I'm ready to go." So I got everything in line. So everybody else thinks, "Oh, it must be nice to get an opportunity." That's not it. There's opportunities that'll pass you every single day that you don't even know.
Right.
The fact is, if you are ready to jump on those great opportunities and those good opportunities, those good houses, they come. You're just never. Most people are just never in the position to jump on them.
Well, you know who gets lucky? The people who are ready.
Exactly.
It's a funny thing that the more prepared you are, the more people you have in your corner to help you, the more ready you are to have these opportunities. You just start getting lucky.
Well,
isn't
like,
that?
and people are sad. Like, the first house I bought from Jeremy, I could give you a little numbers game. I paid just over $200K for it. It was a house that was on the market,
Right.
and people. It just came on the market. I jumped on it right away. It was well, actually, no, it was going to market. I jumped on it, made sure I was ready. Me and Danielle renovated that one, put $30,000 into it. We made $70,000 that month
There you go.
in equity on that house, which then funded my next 3 rentals.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a matter of the opportunity and the houses are out there, but you got to know those ins and outs on what to look for. Guys like Jeremy, they're the ones that help you get there.
If you don't know, Jeremy does. So there you have it. And that concludes our realty corner section here, realtor section of the episode. So what we wanted to get into today.
Also, what got missed is me asking for anybody who has a training program for grip strength, or our listeners just like Devin's useless. I think that was the last time. Like, nobody messaged me even. Offering to coach me. Oh shit.
No, we there was an absolute just gold mine of information.
Probably the last 10 minutes was literally gold mine.
Anecdotes, just really amazing stuff that Denzel fucked up and cut out of the episode. So sorry guys, sorry listeners, but
the problem with having a producer that's 5'6" is things go over his head.
Absolutely, that's so true. Yeah, that's so true. So the question that Thrones posed to us that we decided to turn into this entire episode was end of the year awards ?
Yes.
And then he gave a list of some examples, and we're going to go through pretty much all of them here.
Yeah.
So what we
both got our opinions on it.
Yeah, absolutely. So we decided to do 2 individual things here. So this is the Strong and Petty Manitoba year-end awards, but we each pick our own.
Yeah.
Okay. So we decided to put very little restrictions on this too. Everything that we talk about will be like mostly like happened in Manitoba. Like, say for example, one of them is like competition, the best competition that we in our mind of the year. I'm not going to include CSM in that. We're not going to include Westerns in that because this is Manitoba based stuff, right?
Yeah.
So
for our listeners across the world, we're out of Manitoba, Canada.
Yeah.
Lots of our stuff is focused just on. When we say this athlete of the year, it's athletes out of our Manitoba scene that we represent.
Absolutely.
We have a good loyal following here, and we try to build the scene.
Absolutely.
So this is based on that.
So what we're going to start with for this one
Otherwise,
is...
it'd be Lucas Hatton.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
Lucas, who's the athlete of the year?
Yeah. Tristan Hulse, Colton
Thor,
Sloan.
I guess.
Yeah. Everybody but Jeffers.
Volunteer of the year. So we're gonna do this one first, and I don't want people to think that we're getting this one out of the way or anything, because this is an extremely important category.
We each made our own
to
list.
both of us here.
Yeah.
So what we have here is what I have is a honorable mention and then the winner, quote unquote winner.
Yeah.
So what I want to start with is why don't you go first for your volunteer of the year? Or should we start with your honorable mentions or start with the winners?
Let's start with honorable mention.
Okay. Yeah.
So honorable mention, I have Janaea.
Janaea. Yeah.
Day of, she's always there for me. For us, for me. I'm kind of biased in this, in a sense. Not biased. Maybe I'm skipping over. I should have two, but
Okay.
Janaea, it's honorable mention. Always there. She's been in this scene for years. She helps us day of massively. She does come help me load up quite a bit. Other honorable mention. Yeah, I'm happy with Janaea.
I'm gonna.
Who do you got for honorable?
I'm gonna save your fucking life here. What I'm
I know what you're going for.
No. Okay, hold on. So for my honorable mention, I'm gonna say Thrones.
Okay, yeah.
Because he
live stream.
Yeah. So what he does is,
like I said, I'm biased.
yeah, for sure.
I'll be centered on
but you're thinking day of stuff, right?
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking about is, and I don't mean to diminish in any way, Dean, Janaea, the people who are there the day of doing that kind of work. But what Thrones does a lot of that people don't see is stuff at his house on his computer, making things happen with our score sheets, making things happen with the video. He's just constantly coming here and showing me stuff that he's been working on on his own at home. And Thrones is not a guy where spare time comes to him very easily.
And to be honest, I wouldn't have thought of that.
Yeah. So
because you deal with that,
right?
Like you deal with Thrones. He helps you on your end. Because you do the promotion side of things and that live stream, and I don't even know the work you guys put in.
But that's the thing is that I can't even speak.
So my volunteers based,
exactly.
Crazy, I didn't even think of the amount of time he put, and what a score sheet we got, what a live stream we got.
Yeah,
I take that a bit for granted,
sure,
maybe.
Yeah, sure.
So shout out to Thrones. Yeah. So actually, we're coming at this from two completely different ways.
Yeah, sure.
Yours are going to be based off of your promotion side, the live stream side. And mine are based off day of loading equipment, unloading equipment.
Yep.
Which is actually good. We'll get more volunteers that way of who we think.
I think so.
Yep.
So let's go. Who is your pick for volunteer of the year for the Manitoba Strongman season in 2024?
Man, I have Dean.
Dean. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have Dean. I have my wife in there too. Yeah, because she does everything and gets zero credit.
I'm gonna give you mine really fast here too. A joint victory between Gian and Danielle.
Yeah.
that's what I'm gonna go with.
Yeah.
A joint victory between Gian and Danielle.
Yeah.
Because the work that they put into it is this is kind of an unfair one to make us pick, because other ones we can just go by the numbers.
Yeah.
We can see guys who have, when we have best athlete or whatever it might be, we can pick things based on hard numbers.
Yeah.
For this one here, it's the hours that people don't see.
Yes.
Dean is there setting stuff up for you.
Yeah. Dean comes day before, loads trailers with you.
Yes.
Days
and
after,
so does Janaea.
loads trailers. So does Janaea.
Yeah.
And Brian actually did too
So does
this year.
Brian.
Yeah.
And so does fucking Pat sometimes. And
so,
you know what I mean?
But then I'm really guilty of this, because I take my wife for granted.
We all do it.
I do that on a grand scale.
Sure.
This weekend we're at the cab, just a little side show, and we're building a sign in the morning. Me and Gord and Danielle and Jocelyn, from the end of my driveway, nice sign. And I guess I didn't realize how much I call on Danielle nonstop in my life. And Gord, within the first hour, was like, "Okay, so we're gonna do a drinking game today. Every time Devin says Danielle's name, we're gonna drink, and we will be drunk by 10 in the morning."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Is it that bad?" He's like, "That's all you say is Danielle." And I guess I've gotten used to living such a life where she does literally everything for me, that I take it for granted.
But here's something that I can almost put that into if I was trying to put a little positive spin on that, because I know it's the same thing that I do too. So when I start thinking about who's the person that helps me the most this strongman season, I'll tell you right now that my first pick was Janaea.
Yeah.
Because she's somebody who just does so much, and she's constantly hustling and blah blah blah. And then I think to myself, it's because, and I'm sure it's the same thing with Danielle, with you, but Gian is just such an extension of myself.
Yes.
That I think of it as it's something that we're doing, and it's not necessarily something that in the same way that I think of it, like Strong Manitoba is yours and my thing.
Yeah.
It's not you helping me or me helping you. It's both of us doing this.
Well,
thing.
I would never say you're volunteer of the year.
Right. Yeah.
And I just, when I say, hey, I did all this, when I say I mean me and Danielle.
and I think that's.
And when you say you mean you and Jen.
Right. And I think that's that might be just us trying to save our asses right now. But I really do think that. But I really do think that's the truth. Is that when I say that it's something that I'm doing, I really hope that people understand that. When I say that I got 5th at CSM, I didn't do shit.
Yeah. Well,
Me and Gian.
Yeah,
you know
I
what
look
mean?
at Danielle. It's just when we're saying, I'm like, if I think of what she does in the morning of the comp and the night before, I get all the equipment ready, and I show up with the equipment, and you show up with that. Throne shows up with just computer. Danielle makes sure all extension cords there for us, and in case on Thrones doesn't have. So for Thrones,
Right.
she makes sure Thrones has a table that she brings with.
Right.
Chairs, all the speakers.
Right.
Make sure the stopwatches batteries are changed. That there's new batteries for the mics. The mics are there. All the mic cords there.
Score sheets.
Score
just
sheet.
like,
She's
yeah.
got all this shit done that I never.
Right. Yeah.
That I don't even have to think about. I load up the trailer, I hook up, and I get all the credit. Oh, Devin, what a great comp! Yeah, this is so great you put on here. And my wife's just like, well, it must be nice, you know. Like,
So there's something to be said for that. So the next time that you see Danielle or Gian or
Yes.
Danae or Dean or Thrones,
well,
or
Brett was there like all those people.
Brett. Yes. Yeah.
We have that
absolutely.
main group, but we had a lot of volunteers here that were amazing.
Yes.
Gord helped out a lot of comps, just because
Becca
they
was
weren't
right
competing.
on the camera.
Becca,
yeah,
she did a great job.
Yeah.
But there's that main core group
Yeah.
and maybe that is the core group we call on anytime we need help.
Right.
Those are the first people
Yep.
I call.
Yep.
For me, it's Dean and Janae and Brian.
Yeah.
For you, it's Thrones and Gian.
Yep.
And those are the people you call when you need something. They're
Yep.
always going to be there.
Yeah, and we love you guys
So,
to know. And Dan,
yeah.
you know, these are all guys who are all
Yeah.
exceptionally helpful, and it's just like when someone else tries to run a strongman competition or whatever, like it's almost hard for us to convey the work that goes into it because we have such a strong infrastructure now.
Yeah.
That we don't really understand how hard it is anymore. You know what I mean? Like,
They take such a load off without us having to do anything.
yeah, yeah,
Oh, so how does your computer score sheets and everything else just get there? Oh, it's in my truck.
yeah.
How to get in your truck? I don't know.
I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So how does the live stream work? Oh, I have no fucking clue.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
I couldn't even begin to explain that to you.
I was
'cause
actually
have no
thinking that
idea.
like
Yeah.
last year, but it was like, oh, you got a great last year. I'm like,
Yeah,
well, we own it.
yeah,
Like me and Tyler own the equipment.
yeah.
But I don't know.
But that's
I
it.
don't
Yeah.
know.
If you put it in front of me, I couldn't even plug it in properly. Yeah. Speaking of the streaming stuff, some exciting news is that Thrones is going to be going to live stream nationals.
Shit, yeah.
The strongest woman in Canada this year.
Wow.
So yeah, we're very excited for that. He got a last minute call from Max on that one, and I'm going anyway, so I'm probably going to hang out and do commentary and stuff. So listen to that. Check out the Manitoba Strongman page for that
That'll
one.
be sweet.
Yeah, that'll be really fun.
I'll
Okay.
be driving home from Florida actually.
Oh,
Oh, what is it? Saturday? Is it actually Saturday or Sunday?
It'll be Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll catch some of it.
Yes, there you go.
Yeah.
So
I'll still be on the beach till Sunday morning.
on to our next category here.
Yep.
We had the most improved category.
Yeah.
So now that's kind of vague, but on purpose, like purposefully so.
Yeah.
So whatever that means to you as the most improved, whether it's like from competition to competition, whether it's the whole season,
Yep.
whatever it might be, that's what we're gonna go with on this. So Devin, why don't you start us off with your runner-up for most improved, or it's not runner-up, sorry, honorable mention for
Yeah,
most
for
improved.
honorable mention for most improved from beginning of season to end of season, my honorable mention was actually Clint Grad.
Yeah, sure.
Now, I coached him, but I seen mass improvement in the first comp. Just what he could accomplish going from first comp to last comp. He didn't win provincials, but just the improvements he made on the events and in the sport in general, bringing new people to the
Sure.
sport.
Yeah, I would agree with
Yeah.
that. If he's improving Manitoba Strongman.
He's improved the sport.
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
improved himself to a great level. He's going to nationals. But
Oh, he's
but-
going?
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah. He
Great.
decided last meeting he's going. So
Great.
I have him for honorable mention, and some of that will be based on what he's done for the sport in Brickhouse, trying to build that up. And he's brought those girls in, Sabrina and Natasha,
Yeah, yeah.
and it's really good. So I have him as honorable
brought
mention.
the first female teen division competitor
That we had, yeah.
into, into
Yeah.
Manitoba. So that's our second 64 and all
Yeah.
kinds of so just all
Who'd you
kinds of
have for
great
honorable?
stuff. For my honorable mention, I had Kelly from my gym here, Kelly Giddens.
Yeah.
So
That
she
makes sense.
Yeah, she's somebody that I would use as an example from the beginning of the season to the end. Somebody who's just she works really hard. She trains out of my gym. And again, I'll be totally upfront with you guys. We're going to be a little bit biased on these. Like, it's people that we see the most often. I tried to really think of everybody.
Yeah, I don't see the guys from Iron Image and
Right,
Forge
and
and Brandon and
I really tried to be reasonable with all this and stuff, but there's going to be a certain bias to this. But Kelly is somebody who has seen huge improvements, and I'm going to say this: not only in her strength, which she has seen huge improvements in, but the way that she handles the sport psychologically.
Oh yeah.
She's much better at taking a bad event. She's
Yep.
much better at taking a bad lift, whatever it might be. She's really improved in her ability to just shake something off,
Yep.
and not let it affect her going into the next thing, which I think is probably the hardest thing of all to do
Yep.
at least for a lot of people. So I'm really, really impressed by that with her, and I just love too because she's expressed a bunch of times that through getting through Strongman, she's made a bunch of new friends. She's happy to have something that she's like good at and stuff. And it's just I think that if nothing else, the improved like attitude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like she tried something and she fell in love with it. She
Yeah.
got much better at it too.
And you get surrounded by a great group of people
Yeah,
who
yeah.
support you, and then you
Yeah.
become friends.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I don't mean to downplay her physical acumen because she got really strong and she's
Yeah.
going to be getting stronger. And I'm really excited for. I hope that next year she'll feel that she's ready to take on Nationals Masters division because I
Yes.
think that she's very ready for that.
Yeah.
Who was your most improved athlete for 2024 for the Manitoba Strongman season?
I had Aaron.
Aaron, yeah.
She came to the novice show, her and Emma, and they both improved well. But Aaron really,
She started off pretty good.
she started
Yeah.
off pretty good, but she consistently got better. And I look at it, when I look at, some people increase bigger in terms of strength.
Mm-hmm.
They really did. But if I look at her technique from day
Yeah.
one at novice to the way she was controlling implements at provincials, the strength gain, the composure in the way she was doing her events, I was very impressed.
Yep.
I was very impressed by the way she grew this year.
Yep, absolutely. And so I coach her now after the novice
Yeah, I
competition
guess so.
started.
Yeah.
And she's somebody that it's just she sends me lots of video. She gives me lots of feedback. She's a great communicator, which is like something that some of my clients need to work on. But she just keeps it very easy to coach her because she is just give me lots of feedback, lots of data, lots of information.
Yeah, that's what I would have. I
would
was
not
really
argue
happy.
that for 1 second. And I think that'd be hard for anybody to argue that one. For my most improved, we're gonna go to a whole different division here. We're gonna go to the men's masters. I'm gonna say Trevor Jarowski for my most improved.
Yes. Yep.
Where he was a guy who he said it himself. He's been competing for 6 years, and he finally got that first big Provs win.
Yep.
He won the Masters heavyweight division against Blakely and Dan, who are both guys who could have easily taken it. Blakely's a guy too, that's especially where he's just
you never know whether you're gonna. Yeah.
he can be extremely competitive in open competitions when he
Yes.
shows up. So
Yeah.
for Trevor to show up and take that one and really handily take it too, he had a great competition that day. He's going to nationals this year. He wants to get on the podium. He was just here training earlier, and he hit a PR on log. So congrats for that one, Trevor. And he's just a guy where his technique has really been improving. And I know it's not easy when you're a Masters competitor
To start changing shit up.
Exactly. When you want to use an old cliche, we're trying to teach an old dog new tricks here, and I'm trying to show him that there's technical changes that we can make. He's extremely receptive. He's ready to hear those things.
Yeah.
And he just does a great job. So shout out to Trevor, shout out to Aaron, shout out to Kelly, and shout out to who's your honorable mention again? Sorry.
Clint Grad.
Clint Grad. Yeah.
Yep.
They're all great examples. All people who could and we could have I want to say too. We were struggling before this to narrow down our lists. We
even sat here for an extra 5-10 minutes. Like, so what are we?
Devin's like, can I have 3? Can I have 4? And I was like, yeah, if you want. Like I really don't care. But we don't want to think people think that they're not being noticed or whatever. But this was just like, for example, we looked at say someone like Ryder, where it's like, damn, he had a heck of a season, but he just showed up and started having a great season. Like he didn't
and
really
he was so
improve.
strong in terms of the weights he posted.
Yeah.
He did all of them.
Yeah, it's hard to say. It's hard to say that he really improved a ton. He just started off like he was really good.
Yeah.
So, let's go to our next category, which is the standout performance in 2024. So, what that can mean, again, we kept this kind of vague on purpose. Whether it's a full competition, whether it's an event, whether it's one lift, that was a real ball buster, whatever that really impressed us. That's what this can mean. So. Who did you have, Devin, for your honorable mention for standout performance of the year?
Oh, I didn't even have an honorable mention. I just had the standout performance.
Okay, what do you got?
You.
Oh.
CSM.
Oh, thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. That's what
I had you. You could say honorable mention would be your Magnus performance.
Sure.
Because that stood out. I mean, you won. That's an amazing performance. But to go with no notice into the biggest competition in Canada, that is the most prestigious competition in Canada.
Absolutely.
Show up, beat the guys beat some of the guys that beat you Westerns.
Yeah.
That got their position there from winning that show, and then you come in and beat them there. With no notice, and after getting in a car accident.
Yeah.
So I would say, mine was you.
Well, that felt really nice to hear. Thank you, Devin. I appreciate that. If anybody else wants to tell me how great I am, comments are right down there. Appreciate it. And also, too, I want to say what I forget here. Give us your...
comment what you guys think.
Yeah, give us your category winners in the comments. I'd really love to hear people's thoughts
Most
on
improved athlete, standout of the year, volunteer of the year, and then we'll get to athlete of the year.
Yeah, we got a couple more here. So,
Yeah.
Standout performance of the year. I'm going to give the honorable mention to Ryder.
Yes.
Ryder, who at provincials, who just and also you could also say Tolstoy too, because he just showed up and really This is no disrespect to other team competitors because you guys are fucking great and we love that you guys are out there. But he really showed that it's like, okay, this kid's ready for the open age division. Yeah. You know what I mean? And so he dominated. He's picking up the circuit like at Tolstoy. He's picking up the circus dumbbell like it's like a toy. Like he's just like he's not even using technique. He's just picking it up and muscle snatching it up over and over again. The stuff at provincials, like it really just showed that. I hope he's considering nationals. I don't know if he is or not. I hope he's considering it. And if he's not, his next season, I hope that he jumps into the what do you call it?
Open.
Seniors division. Yeah. Whatever you want to call it, because he's
the adult division.
The adult
and
division,
I talked to Andrew about that, and he said, "Yeah,
that's what Andrew told me too."
He said, "I will be pushing him into that."
Yeah, Andrew told me that too, and I think that'll be the best thing for him because he's going to show up. He's not going to have as easy of a time. No, but he's going to improve a lot faster. You want to talk about like the big fish in the small pond. The best way that it was put to me is that if you take a big fish and put it in a big pond, what happens? It gets bigger. Yeah. So if we can take a kid like Ryder, who's already a big fish in a small pond, and put him into something where he can be tested against some of the really good guys in our province. Yeah. Watch out! In a few years, what that kid's going to be able to do. Yep. Okay, so my number one standout performance for the Manitoba 2024 season, Pat Gregoire at Tolstoy.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Actually, that was so far ago I forgot about that.
Yes. Yeah, so Pat jumped up from the 105, typically in the 105 division, to the men's open division. Yeah. And in a really, really tight battle.
And when he started, he was U90.
That's right. He eked out the to become Manitoba's strongest man, Andrew Langelar, which was very, very impressive to me.
With that sandbag throw.
Just a sandbag throw at the end, yeah, absolutely. And
just sent that thing.
Yeah, and it really set off a really interesting season in Manitoba. Yes. Where it made it very, very difficult to predict what could happen on any given competition. Where, there was ups and downs for everybody, but this was a really high point for Pat where he showed that he could win an open division competition against a really competitive field of guys. And I watched it and I was emceeing that competition. And the whole time I was like, God damn, Pat's a monster.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, I really respected the hell out of him for that one. And there's nothing that I love more than seeing guys jump up divisions. Yeah. And for him to do it and do really well and win, love it. Yeah. Love it. Okay. Competition of the year. And now that, again, can mean kind of whatever you want it to mean. Like for you, maybe it means something different than the athletes. Yeah. But let's just say, what was the one? And let's actually use that. Let's use it as you as the promoter. What was your competition of the year in terms of went well, everything went according to plan, smooth, whatever it might be?
We had Magnus goes well, but that's I don't count that's international comp that I helped Magnus with. I would say Manitoba's strongest man.
Manitoba's strongest man.
Yeah, I'm happy the way it went. Crowd was huge. Yeah. The fairs Rumble in the Valley is very receptive. They give us a lot of money. Yep. We're allowed to put on such a great show. Yep.
They give us the means to be able to do that.
Yeah, the crowd, like the size of the crowd. It's just like Magnus had 1,000 people, but Rumble Valley we still had at least over 500 people there, if not more. Mm-hmm. Performance was good. Show ran smooth. Right on time. I was really happy.
Lots of great performances there.
There was,
unexpected finishes. You know what I mean? Like it was a really. I would agree. I didn't have that one on my list, but I would definitely not argue that one at all. For my runner-up or my honorable mention, I had Tolstoy. Not for the reason you might be thinking, but for anybody who was at Tolstoy, it started off raining, and it was like raining for the whole setup and raining for the first event, maybe two events, and I just really liked that it didn't affect anybody's day. Yeah. Not that I heard, at least. Maybe people were bitching off the sides, but I didn't hear that.
I heard nothing.
And our volunteers worked really hard to make sure that everything we got the circus dumbbell under the tent. We got everything that all the equipment, the recording equipment was covered up, and people were being just. It was a really, really great team execution of making sure that a competition where it's like shit, this could go really bad. Yep. Didn't happen. Yeah. So I would call Tulsa my honorable mention for that, and like I said, not because it wasn't fun competing outside in a shitty cold rainy day, but it could have been a whole lot worse.
Oh yeah, could have been. Yeah.
And it's funny you already kind of went over this, but for my comp of the year, I would say Gimli. I think that was the one it's the most fun to take part in. Yeah. There's something to be said for it being like just a one division open. It's fast.
I'm not gonna lie, I enjoy those shows way more.
It's really fast. It's easy to do. It's fun to watch. Yeah. Gimli's a beautiful town. The Viking statue cul-de-sac is like the ultimate place to do a strongman competition. And you get the
characters coming out from all over the world to compete.
Yeah.
So you get personalities you don't see.
Yeah, we get to see guys like John Wimberly. We get to see Ben Corch. We get to see these guys that we
Connor Gordon, like these.
Sure, Connor's back. Yeah, we get to see all these guys that we don't normally get to see. Dan gets to compete in front of his hometown crowd, which
Yeah.
how often does that fucking happen, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
the guy who's got a new crush on me, Larson.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
he's-
We see a whole bunch of new faces, and the
Looking
Gimli,
for a father figure, it sounds like.
there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow with that one too, where
Yeah.
there's a reason that people want to be there.
Yeah.
It's a high stakes competition that matters. Which means that it brings out Brian Christian, you know what I mean? Like, it brings out really, really good guys who are very good competitive.
Yep.
So Gimli is always, and it's been my favorite since probably the inception. It's just such a great competition. Not to mention the fact that you're competing against or under one of the best strongmen to ever do it. Maybe the GOAT. Okay, so our last category here. This is our big one here, and I want to preface this a little bit. I know that both mine and Devin's, especially mine, our picks have been male category heavy, and we want to take a minute to acknowledge that.
Yeah.
Because it's not that we are not, our women. We, that we love you guys. You know that we want to make sure that there's equal representation as much as possible. But the men's division, the women athletes individually put on amazing performances consistently, every competition, no exceptions. But the men's divisions were so competitive.
Well, and our women's divisions this year where we had Ariel get injured. So then you got a girl like Kelly wants to really, how do I stack up the end of the year against the top ones like Ariel, Jocelyn, these ones, Mara.
Yeah.
So a lot of our girls were in and out of each show, so we didn't have the consistent. Besides Kelly, Aaron, like the girls that were starting.
We had a new wave.
Yes, we did.
Of women that weren't competing last year.
But it was hard to gauge.
Yeah.
Hey, these guys had a standout year when they didn't have those top dogs to go against.
Yeah, Anna only competed twice.
That's
and one was out of province. You know what I mean? So it was just it just didn't have that. The division, like I said, the performances were all great, and we don't want to diminish that at all. But the men's divisions, and particularly the men's open division, was extremely competitive and just whatever. So we want to take a minute to just say, sorry, ladies, we're not trying to be shitty men here. We're just,
and we're gonna have different people on this athlete of the year.
I have no idea what Devin picked for this, and he has no idea what I picked.
That's why our phones are turned sideways.
And and I have two people that I picked for completely different reasons.
Yeah, and I got three because I just couldn't
that's
choose.
fine. Yeah, I love it. We got more time to kill, so that's great. Why don't we start with your
I'll do my first.
Your first honorable mention.
First honorable mention, Andrew Langler.
Sure. Yeah.
Athlete of the year, he did. I mean, he came out. We knew Andrew would do something with the novice.
Sure.
Once you see it at the novice, we know his strength level. We knew what he was going to be capable of.
So he's a big part of why we're going to be recalibrating the novice entry requirements a little bit for next year.
Him and Brian
and Ladadia
and they were a little bit they had great years.
Well, less Ladadian, but
Brian and
Langler,
yeah.
for sure.
And it's that's the thing. Like if I look at this year, if Andrew wasn't there, my folks would be baked him on the performance Brian had, but Andrew was always just a step up, which is amazing for Andrew. So I had him as an honorable mention. He had a great year. He's going to go to nationals. He won MSM. I mean, who comes in the first year and wins that?
No, yeah.
It was great. Big promoter of the sport. He did tons of ironage. Him and Tom, the owner Tom there did.
That's worth pointing out too.
Yeah, what they're doing for the sport. They want to host comps. They're getting young people involved. They're getting older people involved. They're getting everybody involved.
2 teens from their gym.
Yeah, he's out at Gord's making stones every weekend. They bought stone. He's a guy who's very passionate. Him and Gord's another guy who's very passionate, and they're helping the sport, and I really like that. So I had Andrew as an honorable mention.
Going beyond just a competitive field.
Yeah, when we say athlete of the year, I get someone who's well-rounded in all things. So that's my first honorable mention.
Okay, so my honorable mention, like I said, this is a very different. I picked my winner, if you want to call it that, based more on performances and competition and stuff.
Yep.
This one here I picked for just being a great guy that everyone loves to have around. I think you already know. You probably know who I'm heading to.
Our favorite Oompa Loompa.
That's right. He so Martin Demirov is my favorite because my pick for runner up. He did every competition.
Yep.
He did every event and went out and tried everything that whether he and there's other guys who did this too. Adam Z did this too.
Yep. Yeah.
But Martin went out there and gave full effort in everything that he did. He tried everything. He volunteers at whatever he's not competing at.
Yep.
Which was nothing this year because that's the thing is that normally he's a big part of our volunteer crew. This year we couldn't. Him and Brian, they were gone. They were competing the whole time.
But what you didn't know, actually, Martin had messaged me before Gimli or Provincials the Thursday night. He was going to come out after work at 7:00, hey, Devin, do you help? I'm like,
That's
yeah,
right,
I'm
he did
struggling a
tell me
bit.
that.
And he's like, I'm coming out after work. I'll be out there at 7. I'm like, you're going to drive an hour. So I actually went home early, did it all myself. Because I just felt guilty making him drive. But
that's the kind of guy that he is.
No, yeah, not, Brian helped him, but like no other competitor offered that, so he just came out.
Right.
Besides Jesse Campbell,
Yeah.
who literally came out and then was going to stay out and help
BC.
me. But yeah.
Yeah, Jesse Campbell's the man too. So Martin is a guy where he, like I said, he competes all the time. He helps out all the time. He's just a nice guy to have around.
What a cutie!
Very cute. Yeah, very cute. He ran the computer at like the stream at Gimli. There's very few people that I would have trusted to do that job, and he's one of them.
And we had issues there; we couldn't get audio.
Yeah,
and he got that all
and he
figured
fixed
out.
it because he's a smart guy. He knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
So that's my pick. So who is your second runner or your other runner-up?
So my other runner-up would be Jeremy Baker.
Yeah.
I was really.
If I was to pick one more, I would pick Jeremy too.
I was very impressed with his performance at provincials, his growth from last year. He came to Vita sick as a dog.
Yeah.
Still, and he won Vita. Yeah, he won Vita.
Wore his little mask on the podium.
Yeah, wore his mask.
That was really cool.
I really like that. Yeah. I'm all about that.
He looked really cool. Though,
yeah, he looked pretty cool. Yeah, everyone knows Spider-Man, so I could. No, but in all seriousness, he was sick. He was really sick then.
He was really sick.
He actually almost, like what people don't know, is he almost died not long before that come from that bee sting.
Yes, he had it was a peanut butter allergy.
Peanut butter. Why did I say bee sting? Yeah.
He had a really bad allergic reaction that really affected him for like a couple weeks.
He wasn't. Yeah, it was. That you could have not had a Jeremy.
Yeah.
It was actually that bad.
Apparently, very close to that. Yeah.
So I was really impressed with Jeremy. He won provincials pretty handedly.
Yes. Yeah. He had a great showing. That was
he
really
did.
well
He did
prepared.
decent at Maxwell Strauss Man.
Yep.
Which means he just, he did Tolstoy, didn't win. Then he goes to Vita, wins.
Yep.
Then he goes to MSM, doesn't win. Then goes to provincials and dominates.
Yeah.
So his year went like this, but it went at a steady incline.
It was trending upwards.
Yeah. So I that's my second honorable mention.
Yeah. He's a guy where he's poised to have a really big year this year.
Yeah.
He's poised to do Westerns, to do the Magnus qualifier, and to hopefully do good performances in both those. So I'm really excited for that, for him to kind of make that leap from solely amateur guy to pro-am guy.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what made me pick my athlete of the year here, which is Andrew Langelar.
Oh.
He's a guy who jumped in on something that it would have been really easy for him to be like, I'm already a good powerlifter.
Yeah.
I don't need to prove myself in anything else. You know what I mean? Like, he does the coaching for powerlifting.
He has like 13 national records or something already.
Yes. And here's the thing is that if he jumps into strongman and shits the bed and it doesn't go well, maybe that affects his coaching business in powerlifting. Maybe people see that and they think, you know what I mean? So it's a risk that he took, and I can really respect that. And he won Manitoba's Strongest Man. And did it by doing it in the coolest way possible, which is by winning the stones. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's like it's not like a fluke thing where whatever. Like he had a really awesome showing there that was really, really impressive. He went and did Westerns.
Yeah.
He agreed to do Westerns before he'd ever competed.
Yeah.
And then he didn't. Well, I'll tell you what he didn't do that I was really impressed by is he didn't not do other competitions.
Yeah.
He still did Tolstoy. He still did Manitoba's Strongest Man.
Yeah.
And that was before this big competition that he was taking very seriously.
He did Magnus.
He did the Magnus too.
Did the Magnus.
So that's the next one on my list is that he did the Magnus on short notice.
Yeah.
So he's just doing everything.
Yeah, we had
right.
someone get injured.
That's right.
So we called him up.
He's doing everything right. That I want to see in strongman.
And he didn't make excuses.
No, he competes hard. He competes often.
Yeah.
He competes at a high level.
Yeah.
And he throws himself out there and tests himself. He needs to start being easier on himself.
Yes.
I'm talking to you, Andrew. You need to start being a little bit easier on yourself. You're in your first fucking year, okay? But he's a guy where he's just like I said, he's just hitting all the right notes for me.
Yeah.
He's making it so that if we want to talk about what you talked about before, all the stuff outside of the competitive field that he's doing, he's bringing in young guys. He's helping a gym that is very receptive to it become a very strongman focused gym or strongman adjacent, whatever you want to call it, and helping the sport to grow, which is like, competing and doing well. That's great, and if you do that, that's all you really need to do. But if you can do more outside of it and make the sport grow,
that's exactly.
I love you.
Yep.
I'm going to love you for that. So,
yeah.
Do you have anything you want to add to the?
No, that and the more we talk about it, makes sense why he is. Now, my pick for athlete was based solely performance based.
Okay.
As much as I don't want to pick this guy because I know
I know exactly who it is.
my DMs are going to blow up now with probably underwear pics or something.
Yeah.
I had Garrett.
Yep. Sure.
He'll love that.
Yep.
But I had Garrett he was a U90 guy last year, should have won Nationals, tore his bicep.
Yeah.
That should have been his. That was his for the taking.
Sure.
Unfortunate mishap, and I figured, you know what? Damn it, he's going to sit in that U90 all year again this year, and just to get that win, because whether it be fear, whether it be, and that happens with, do I want to move up next category and possibly take, chance taking a loss? And he stepped out of his shell, what I think's your shell, Garrett. Stepped out. You did the U105 all year. You dominated all year.
Performed really well.
You
too.
performed really well.
I really want to stress that. Like,
you're a big supporter of the show. You're a big supporter of the sport out there in Brandon.
Yeah. Comes in for seminars.
You come in. You support all the seminars. You support a lot of the guys at the show. You're always willing to come out and help. He even came up for training days. A 3-hour drive to come train at the gym.
He came and lifted before provincials.
And he's always there helping everybody at the training.
Yeah.
Always giving any advice he has. You could argue that I understand why you had Andrew because Andrew did a ton. But
this is all
performance based. I was really happy with the way Garrett stepped out of that shell and dominated that 105 division. Yeah. And hopefully, I don't know whether he's doing OSG or not. I always got the invite.
I just like seeing him not do those cuts anymore.
Yeah. I think that hinders a lot of his performance, and I think he's got a lot. He's a master too, if I'm correct. Where he's knocking on that door.
Not yet, but he will be soon.
Yeah. So. I liked his year. Yep. I'm gonna give it to Garrett.
I liked it too. I have no qualms with calling Garrett the athlete of the year for sure. He's like you said, he jumped up from the 90 to the 105. 105 not this year wasn't our most competitive division just purely in terms of the numbers. In the past, we've had a lot more competitors.
U90 105 was our biggest divisions previous.
We had a boom of that a couple years ago, and this year it hasn't been the same. So it was nice. First of all, it was nice to have a rounded out podium at the very least.
Yep.
So for him to show up and do that was great. And also, like, one of the things that I always noticed from him is that he would put up these good numbers in his garage gym, and then he would do these cuts, and they just weren't. Yeah, the strength wasn't there.
Yeah, he was down 10% or 5% every time.
He was just getting zapped, and he just wasn't responding well to these cuts. And I think that the protocol might be something to do with that. But either way, those cuts are hard on your body, man.
Yeah, they're hard on your tendons.
They're hard. Yeah,
things
hard
tear. Things get dehydrated.
And so it was nice to see him show up.
Yeah,
ready to go. Like no remnants of a nasty cut or anything, a body weight cut, and just competing well. I liked it. I liked it a lot, and I like that as a pick too. I like him as a pick for athlete of the year.
I hate this. I just got to answer this message. I apologize, guys.
All right, hold on. Okay.
I've got my delivery driver out of place.
So what I'll do in the meantime here is we got a little bit of time left here, so I'm gonna pull up one of our questions that we received from one of our valued listeners here. And I'll answer one. So this one's actually posed just to me. So it says, when will Tyler know the events for the Magnus? That's a great question.
Magnus says he leaves him till Magnus leaves him till way late.
I have no idea is the answer to that question. I don't know. And I mean, as long as nobody knows, I don't really care.
Yeah.
That's kind of the beautiful part about the Gimli qualifier is that people sometimes complain about getting the events so soon. But it doesn't really matter as long as we all get the events at the same time.
And you all did.
I don't know them a day before they get announced. I don't know. I don't know anything about them. Dan doesn't know. Langlar doesn't know. Nobody knows the slightest thing before everybody else knows.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
Yeah.
And it's also
What's the other question I got? You keep going. I'm gonna look up these questions.
It's going to be an interesting set of events. So what I've done to kind of start training towards it right now is I've set up. I had a little whiteboard and I wrote down every event that's happened at the Magnus competition in the past 3 years.
Yeah.
And then I did a little cross section. I was like, okay, these events have appeared at every Magnus competition. Farmers, stone loading, or no, it's not stone loading. Stone to shoulder, farmers carry, deadlift of some kind, whatever. There was something. The Husfell, and there was one other that I'm forgetting. But those are at every one of them.
Yeah.
So safe bet they're going to happen again this year. Magnus likes
traditional events.
Yeah, he likes a log press. He likes a deadlift. He likes a farmer's carry.
And if we're up to him, it would all be wooden implements.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and
I'm just too cheap.
I'm really, really, really hoping that the Husfell is something that we'll get to mess with when we're there and get to use that in the competition. I'm really hoping that the sandbag throw makes a return from last year. That's something that I could score some points in.
Yep.
And I'm really hoping that hoist that they used last year does not come into play this year because that would not be a very good one for me. But speaking of the Magnus show, they've added some new names to the roster. We have a group chat, whatever. And I won't say anything yet because they want to do their announcements coming up. But they added, I think right now, off the top of my head, there's 5 former World's Strongest Man competitors on that roster, and I'm not one of them. So we will. It's gonna be a very. I'm thrilled about that. Like there's nothing that I would. Whoa. There's nothing that I would prefer than to have just the most stacked roster I whatever, because shit, man, how many times you get to compete against World's Strongest Man competitor, and then how many times you compete against 5?
I want to come out there so bad.
Yeah, I got a whole cheering section coming. My mom, my dad, my aunt, my uncle. Martin's coming out. Jan.
Martin is too.
Martin's going. Yeah.
Sakes, man.
So short answer, I don't know the events. Whenever I'm sure that when I'm allowed to talk about them, they'll already be on the internet. Yeah. So I would say just keep your eyes peeled on the Magnus Classic Instagram page.
Another question from my adopted son, Larson. Why does Devin look like he's 50 years old when he's only mid-30s?
I'll let you feel that one.
I probably get that a lot.
Well, I mean, the short answer is because you have an insane wizard beard.
Yeah. This beard makes me look old.
It does. It really. Yeah.
And then you add the gray hair in here too, and maybe the weathered face from where I squint in my eyes.
There's a photo.
Because every time Larson sends me nudes, I'm stuck looking like this.
Squinting. Like, what am I looking at here?
It's created these wrinkles in my forehead.
The thing too is it's funny because your photo on WhatsApp is like this old photo of you where you have this nice, clean, trim beard, and it's only from probably 4 years ago.
3 years
ago, but it looks like it's from 20 years ago.
I know.
Because it looks like you've been trapped on an island since then and able to somehow cut your hair, but not your beard.
There's been a couple times this summer this has almost came off.
You know what was funny too was somebody saw, I think my brother saw a clip that you had posted, or somebody maybe from the baptism, I guess, and he said to my mom and my dad, do you know that Devin's a pastor? And he was like, no. He's like, yeah, I saw a video of him. It was just that guy who looks exactly like
my
you.
buddy Rick. Yeah, he has a big beard too.
I was like, no, that wasn't Devin, but there was the pastor who looked exactly like him. And if you look around the crowd, there's probably 3 or 4 more guys who look exactly like him too. So, but yeah. So to answer your question, Larson, is that Devin has lived. Sorry, you're 30.
36.
36.
37 the day you compete in Iceland.
There you go. So he's almost 37.
Yeah.
But it's a hard living 37, and I don't mean drinking, and I don't mean drugs, nothing like that. But it's just it's a running ragged. It's a car that's desperate for a tune-up, and he just won't give it.
I was literally just at a business meeting before I came here. That's why we talked late, and my business partner was there, and we had a VP flying from Montreal wanted to meet with us, and we're talking about the shit I had to do with, because I'm like, I got this yet tonight, and I got Bible study after this, and I'm building the house, I'm doing this, that, and Scott's like, the guy's like. And I'm at the office at 7 o'clock, driving there every morning before Scott gets there, like just to make sure I've got the shit going and whatever else. And Scott's like, I'm just waiting for Devin to burn out. Yeah. And that's just the guy's always says, I'm just waiting. It's going to happen. I said, no. I said, I'm looking at like caffeine and cocaine. This is the VP of like a company that's worth like a couple $2 billion. And he just looks at me. I'm like, and he's like, in that order. I'm like, well, I said, you don't use cocaine as your coffee whitener?
It's got to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
So hopefully that answers your question, Larson. Larson, he's not going to want me to share this, but he's on a bit of a weight loss journey right now. So if everybody could do me a favor, send Larson a really nice, kind, encouraging message. You're going to do this, buddy. You're going to look like an athlete soon. Okay.
Send me your address so I can send you donuts. I'll send him those edible arrangements, those chocolate-covered strawberries.
I like this one here, too. And maybe we can both have an answer for this one. What events do you guys want to try for the next Strongman season?
I've seen that.
So this is obviously what we want to try and what are feasible.
See, it's
kind
different
of
now.
Two different things.
It's different now because we got Strong Manitoba now. So previous to this year and end of last year, was me, and I just got tired of spending money.
Right. Building
equipment. Like everyone's like, oh, we need this fit. I'm like, I put $30,000 in that I'm never getting back. To get the equipment that we have in the sport right now, and I'm like, I'm not spending any more money. I can't. I don't have any more money to spend this thing. Now we got Strong Manitoba. We got sponsors. Hopefully, gonna get more, and we're able to have a little bit of a budget to build new equipment.
Right.
So I've been trying to ponder what events do I want to see that we never just had the budget for before.
Sure.
Anything you had to come to mind?
Well, we had mentioned it before, and we're seeing it as it's happening on some of the bigger shows, And it's one of those. The more that I see it, the more that it's being recognized as like a distinctly Canadian event. A wheelbarrow, a heavy wheelbarrow.
Yes, and I have one of those.
And we do have one. Yeah. So I think that would be a fun one to do.
That will be in next year.
Yeah, I think that you can look forward to a wheelbarrow as a group event for next year in something, whatever that might be.
Yep.
And damn it, I had one. Oh, you know what was one too, and this is one that. So we have the wheelbarrow. That's one that we're going to do. One that I would like to do, but we would have to look into the logistics and the purchasing and everything. Finkel's Fingers.
Yeah.
That's one that I'd really like to see.
Which I actually have.
But and that becomes a
But
problem.
I don't have light enough ones for the woman.
Right. We need to figure out a competition that would work.
It would only be like the one I have. The only guy to ever flip was Dave Oslin.
World's strongest man competitor,
Yeah,
Dave Oslin.
who placed third at Worlds.
Yeah.
And who's like 7 feet tall.
Right. So we might need to look into that a little bit.
I do actually have a whole frame built for Finkel Fingers to have them
Yes.
side by side.
Yeah.
So we can, but the problem with that is, Finkel Fingers is an event that you will only ever see at MSM or Gimli.
Yeah.
Reason being is I can't make enough fingers.
No, yeah.
And
be divisions.
transport them
there's
to be in
fucking way.
divisions.
It
Yeah.
would have to be, and realistically, it would
Unless
probably just the men's.
Unless I
division.
can hold on, I could navigate something where I could have them plate loaded at the top.
Yeah, I mean
The top foot, I could have plate loaded.
Yeah.
So I could add 100 pounds at the end.
Yeah.
Hold on, yeah, we'll ponder that this winter.
Yeah, we'll try to figure something out with that. I'd like to see that one.
Because that's something you don't see.
No, it's not something you see very often. And if I'm trying to think of like one other thing that might be kind of cool, a backlift. All right, so let's go on to the next thing here. Actually, I would love to have a backlift.
Yeah, I don't see why not. That'd be pretty neat.
That would be neat.
We looked that up with Kijiji one time. You remember? And you're like, oh, this might work.
That would be so sweet.
You're like, this might work. And I'm like, it's what is it like?
It's like 5,000 pounds or
Yeah,
something.
I was like a bunch of yeah. I'm like, how are we moving this?
Yeah. I'm like, this would be a great backlift. He's like, yeah, it would. And I looked at him like, oh, it weighs.
Yeah. How are we getting it onto the
it's
trailer?
more than anyone has ever lifted on Earth ever. All right, so I like this question here too. And this can be kind of a brief one here.
Yeah.
Who do you think will be the top dog in Manitoba in 3 years, men and women?
Ooh. I still classify you as a top dog right now. You lost to MSM, but that was based on. I have my own thoughts on that. Whether you're still going to be in 3 years or not, that'll determine some things. There's people coming up in the sport. If you take current progression, if everything keeps progressing the way it is, I would believe top dog would be Andrew.
Yeah.
For the men, and you will have guys knocking on the door. You will have Dan there right next with him. You will have Jeremy right there. You can have Brian right there. Mocha depends what he does. Those are our top main men anyways, and unless someone new comes to sport. That would be my opinion. If things keep progressing the way they did this year, I would think that's where you're going to end up.
Right.
And Andrew, obviously, he's got the height and the size and the background to do it. Depends how things, injuries happen. Adversity happens. We have guys in sport last year that were big in the sport. They wanted to make it to all these different stages that were non-existent this year because of injuries and adversity in life.
Right.
And that I know there's guys actually the last 2 years that were, I'm going to be at Worlds this year. I'm going to do this year. I'm going to do this. And they aren't even competing or training anymore.
Right.
So what happens, everybody's got high hopes and high motivation when motivation is high. Oh, I'm motivated to do this.
For
I'm
sure.
so
Yeah,
motivated.
Yeah. When they watch the right video on YouTube or whatever.
And then and then all of a sudden, once you hit adversity and life and kids and family and business and finance and bankruptcies, all those things that, like I could say all those things that I went through from 2010 to 2020, because I almost went through almost bankrupt twice. Adversity, injuries, falling off roofs, getting injured, different stuff in the family, addiction stuff. I still continue training. Never made it to the big stage like you did, obviously, but those things change people's path. It's guys who make it to the top level who have overcame all that adversity that I give those guys props.
It's easy to go to the gym when the sun's shining.
Exactly.
It's easy to go to the gym when it's a beautiful summer day.
Yeah.
And your buddies are all there. And it's whatever. That's when it's really easy to do it. And what's hard to do is when you're now I've worked this shift and I gotta go at 7 p.m. to the gym tonight and it's cold and it's and like I said, I have kids at home and I have to be up at 6 for work the next day and that's when it's not fun and that's when it's up to that person to decide.
Prime example.
How bad they want it.
Last night I haven't been to the gym in a weekend. I've got one workout in last week and I actually had been training quite consistently the last while. Last night I finally had a chance. I want to get in the gym. And it was 6:30, and I was putting up beams at my new house, because I'm trying to build as much as I can myself. I looked down, I have enough lumber to get these beams capped 3 sides. I still got one more going. I finally finished up. And I'm not used to working physically. Like, I lost 8 pounds last week actually working.
Really?
Because I had 70-some hours last week between my job and then going there and working every night till 8:30 yet. I got home at 7:40 and looked down, I'm like, man, I really need to go train. But I was fried.
Right.
I had only slept 5 hours last night before because of some other stuff that happened. And I was fried. And me 5 years ago, I would have been in the gym. There wouldn't have been a question asked.
Sure.
I would have been in there. And instead, I'm like, you know what? I'm getting old. My body hurts. I'm like, no, I'm just going to, it was Morgan's first day of school, in high school.
That's
and I'm
right,
like,
yeah.
we'll just spend a little time at home. And I didn't train. And I'm like, that's not me 5 years ago.
Right.
But that is also the reason I'm not at the level of competition that I was years ago.
Sure.
Because I just don't have it
Wait,
mentally.
and there's different things going on, right?
Different life
Your
circumstances.
daughter wasn't having her first day of high school 5 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
There's different life circumstances now. And, yeah.
Yep, and that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
What was the question? Oh yeah, Gordon.
For women, who's the top dog?
For my pick for the top guys will be Dan. In 3 years, I think that he'll overtake me. And what I kind of predict for Dan is he's gonna have a breakthrough at some point.
Yeah.
Where it's going to just start to click with whatever he needs to be in terms of body weight, whatever he needs to be in terms of, and even if that means like if he decides to go to 105 or whatever he's going to do, he's going to be very, very dominant and very good at it.
Yep.
And I think that he's going to be, that he'll be the next Mr. Manitoba, if you will,
Hey, yep.
And for the women,
Man, that's like, and I feel all the top girls right now are in masters or near masters.
I think that for me,
so
it's either Anna or Erin.
Yeah, I could see. It depends what Anna wants to do because she's very passionate about Olympic lifting.
Well, that's really the only reason that I like. Erin is singularly focused on strongman.
Where
right
Anna's
now.
true passion is Olympic lifting.
Right.
Like that's her passion. Like,
and in 3 years it'll be a big deal for her to kind of deciding where Olympic lifting will take her. Because you hit your peak much earlier.
Throw things in. Sounds so sick, but throw things in like Anna's a younger girl. I think Erin's a really young girl. But you got these girls, they're dating people. What happens if they get hitched or get pregnant and have a kid?
Sure.
That's what, like,
anything can change. Absolutely.
And men, and it sounds so bad, but men can have a baby and they're more selfish. Men are more selfish. They'll have a baby and they'll
you're physically more capable too.
You're more
right?
but I mean, when I had kids, Danielle stayed home. I still trained 7 days a week.
Right.
And that was I have regrets now on that, but that's for me to deal with. Women, when you look at the girls, they'll have a kid. Their whole focus is this child.
Well, they have the prenatal period where they can't be lifting the same way.
Yeah.
They can still,
and depending how the delivery goes, who knows?
Sure, absolutely.
You got a girl like Bailey who came back and did phenomenal this year, and that's awesome. So it's hard to predict for women
for 3 years down the line.
Also, the ones that are already done having families.
Yeah,
for 3 years down, because all our young girls are one good time away. From having
I think that
having a life-changing thing, right?
For sure. I think that for me, it's either
based on current trajectories. I would say you're correct.
Yeah, based on current trajectories, I would say Anna or Erin. And like I said, if Anna was singularly focused on strongman, I would put her in that spot.
Yeah.
But I think the split makes it a little bit closer.
Yeah.
And they're both just so new to the sport that there's just like so much progression to be had still. It's really hard to imagine.
You're still in those virgin gains.
For sure, yeah.
Just on changing technique and lifts of the lifts we use.
Yeah.
They've got so much. There's so much room for growth just on technique.
Right.
That'll give them that. Oh, you've gained 30% in strength. Well, no, I just gained technique.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I'm very, very excited to see where they go with that. And we will wrap on this question: if Gord or Jocelyn place top 5 in their class during OSG, will Devin shave his beard?
I'm getting a lot of this lately. How much to pay to shave your beard?
Top 5.
And hey, if Gord or Jocelyn. No, I don't want to shave my beard, though. I like my beard.
I don't really want to do it, though.
I really don't want to. But, I mean, if Gordon Jocelyn... Do
they want you to shave your beard? Like, is it like...
No, not them.
Is that a motivator for them?
I don't know, maybe, yeah. Here's the deal. If Gordon and Jocelyn both place top 5...
Done. Okay.
I'll shave my beard.
There we go.
Yeah.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, we're going to start wrapping up here.
My cousin did one of those... I don't know why. I actually got heartburn or butterflies.
Just thinking about it?
My cousin Robin. I know about my cousin Robin. He is the hairiest man I ever met in my life.
Okay.
Hair. He, years ago, was coaching a hockey team of like 14-year-olds. I think it was 13, 14, 15. Might even bantam like 15, 16. These guys had no business winning.
Right.
So he had told them all, if you guys go to, they do tournaments. I think it's provincials or whatever it is they call it in hockey. I should know this, but if you go to this tournament and if you guys win this tournament this weekend, you can wax my chest.
Oh, boy.
These guys were like a shoe-in for last place almost.
Yeah.
They had no business winning anything. They won that tournament.
That's amazing.
They pinned him down in the dressing room and put narrow and were ripping strips off him, and he was screaming.
That would hurt like a bitch.
It was so bad
Yeah.
because he's so hairy.
Yeah.
And then Robin, being a man, doesn't know, so he goes home and he's just got patches all over his body.
Right.
So he's like, well, I got to get rid of this. So he just grabs Nair, and he Nairs his whole body.
Wow.
And he's in the shower, he's reading the instructions, says, do not put on sensitive areas. And he goes to wipe it off his nipples, and he's like,
Oh.
And he worked at the Hog Bar at the time. This would have been 15 years ago. It's before he worked for me. He's one of my business partners now. And he had to wear baggy shirts at work for like a week because his nipples were so raw.
So sensitive.
So this scares me now.
Oh boy. Well, hey. But if nothing else from that story, we learned that this can be an extremely effective motivator.
Yes, it
So
can
Jocelyn and Gord, I expect to see you guys on that top 5 position.
be. If you guys
at
get top
OSG.
5, I'll cut this off and see if I can donate it to like a cancer.
They're not going to want
Something
that.
for
shit.
that.
They're not going to want that.
Come on, someone wants this on their head.
Speaking of cancer, somewhat something. This Saturday, Deadlift for Dreams. We're in that like very literal home stretch here.
We have raised $8,000 in the last 2 days.
Amazing. That's amazing. We're getting very close to $40,000 now, I believe.
Yep.
Right? Yeah. So
Yeah.
there's also something to be said for you raise a few $1,000s the day of too, right? There's some donations. There's like purchases that can be made there and stuff. So there's still some more money to be made the day of. But we want to get as close to that 60 as we can before the actual lifting starts.
Donate to me only.
Donate to Devin only. Candace had a $2,500 donation.
Oh, don't tell me. I've seen that. I've been
She's
tracking that shit
crushing
every
it.
day.
She is crushing
Because
it.
I'm over competitive in all the stupid areas.
Well,
And I'm like, I'm not top fundraiser.
you want to talk about competitive? Who is the gym that's raised the most money so far?
Yeah, so far you guys.
Yes.
Here's my spiel on this because I've been going over this whole day.
Martin's crushing it too.
Martin's crushing it. You got a bunch of guys crushing on top. Yeah. I've got some good guys. I did a ton of fundraising this year, more than I've ever done. The problem was all my fundraising was corporate sponsors.
Oh, so it doesn't count to your name, right?
Yeah, I've raised over 30% of the whole total
Yeah.
is mine.
Tough luck.
But only 2,500 goes to my fundraisers. 10,000 of mine doesn't go to my fundraising total.
Nice.
I'm just like, oh man, I'm not going to win.
You're not going to win.
But it's for a good cause.
Yes.
And it's a good friend of mine's daughter. That's actually the business meeting I was just at.
Yeah.
That's the company he works for.
Oh, okay.
And the VPO's out, and they're white light sponsors. They're the biggest sponsor. They jumped on board, and then I'm at the meeting. I'm like, hey guys, like I appreciate the sponsor. I'm still short on my fundraiser. But I wasn't asking. He's like, oh, and they all pull out their phones, and they all got the links, and they're like, well, we'll also donate to you privately, outside of the company.
Oh, amazing! There you go.
And I'm like, we've already donated $2.5 grand.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah. I'm like, hey, that's and I'm like, hey, $20. I don't care. Give me $10.
Anything, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool.
Shout out to Jeffers, Larson, John Wimberly. These are all guys who've been donating to me and Gian from the
Oh,
strongman
weird.
scene.
No one to me. Yeah.
Nope,
Weird.
well, you
Larson didn't donate to me.
You got to be well liked to get donations there. Well, they didn't donate to me either. They just donated to Gian. John donated to both of us, but not those other two fucks. So we are this Saturday. We'll be at St. Malo. As you're hearing this, there's still time, especially if you're in Winnipeg.
Yeah.
This will be airing at like 6 in the morning on Saturday, and we're not there till 10 a.m.
Yeah.
It goes,
10 till 2.
It goes till 2. So there's two distinctly fun parts of this lifting.
Yeah.
Where there's all the new people in the beginning who are hitting new numbers. There's like teens, there's kids.
Yeah.
Very, very fun. And then towards the latter half, you start to see some of the big dogs pulling. It gets really heavy.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really, really fun
And
day.
then we got a truck deadlift sponsored by Will C. Life Ford again.
Absolutely. We got face painting. There's a
petting zoo.
There's going to be all kinds of really fun stuff there for the kids. Bring them down. And let's
Manitoba Pork's doing pork in the bun for everybody.
Yes, free food. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure we take a moment just to recognize too that this is all for a really, really good cause. We're trying to raise money for Ruby and her family, and then now that we've
surpassed
what's needed for her, because people have asked about this too. We've surpassed what's needed for her dream to be taken care of and come true. It just goes to other families in the province. Anything that's an overflow from this just goes to other people.
Yeah.
And every dollar
just helps more
counts.
kids, man.
Just helps more people. So
Yeah.
just come down, help out, just be there, be a body, be a face in the crowd because even that helps.
Bring your kids. Bring them out for a fun day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So following that, that's the September stuff. We've got November 9th. We've got Iron Claw right here at Iron Age. We've seen a really good sign up for that. I want to see a little bit more. I want to see maybe a training ground person or two sign up. We've got very very quiet from the training ground crew over there. But I'm sure they're just building anticipation.
We can't grip shit.
Following that, we've got the Nathan Payton seminar being held at training grounds, rescheduled. This is a kind of a blessing in disguise for some people. If you couldn't make that first one or whatever, this is a good opportunity to make sure you do not miss this once-in-a-lifetime chance to learn from one of the very, very best nutrition coaches doing it today. When we were watching Strongest Man on Earth, he was there constantly in the background. He's working with a bunch of the guys there. If you watch World's Strongest Man, that's airing now. He's in the background of all those. I'm sure we'll be seeing him at the Rogue. This is a guy who's he's doing big business here with the strongman community. Following that, we've got also here at Iron Age, November 23rd, I believe it is. We have Deep Freeze, WRPF push-pull meet. It's just the 2 lifts. If this is something where you're kind of like, I kind of want to try a powerlifting meet, or I don't want to do a full thing because I'm just feeling kind of beat up or whatever, this is a great opportunity to come down, get the 2 most fun lifts in, and have a great time doing it. So cash prizes for that one too, which you don't see very often in a Manitoba powerlifting meet. So let's all take advantage of that, get signed up, and win some cash. We got more coming up later, but we'll leave it at that for now. Anything you want to add today?
No, that's it.
Okay.
See you at Deadlift for Dreams.
We will see you guys in a few hours at Deadlift for Dreams.